You have to find the yeah, it's really boy, I tell you, Rumble did me a disservice. Which one is it? Is it the profile or is it the channel? Yeah, what I don't even know the numbers on the two different because it is so difficult on the Rumble side to make heads or tails out of it because it lets you stream on your profile or your channel. Look for the one that's the channel, and I have no idea how to do it. But isn't it curious? Let's see if I can. Is there a way to do this? Just kind of curious if I can figure out which one's the channel and which one's the me. Huh. Oh well. We'll get it figured out at some point. Maybe somebody from Rumble will enlighten me. Hello, all. Good evening. How's everyone? Hello, Sparks. Hello, 37A3, aka E Dollar. Hello, Firequacker. Genesis. Can't wait to see all you guys in person. Hello, Sissy, Callie. I see LSU girl over on the kick side. Bengals, totally awesome one. MJ, Canuck, see a good crew. Busted Gia over on the kick side. Excuse me. Oh, we should probably be diving right in so that we'll be ready for our time with Dr. Scott. What's going on up in Canada land? Good to see you. Hello, Miss Kukla. I just fishing. Jules Bells. Let's see. Got eggs today, down by $1 a dozen, hitting passengers. Troy, Nashville trip is not planned yet, but I need to get on it. I need to break out a calendar for the next 3 or 4 months. I've got 2 family functions that are throwing it a curve, so I've got to work around those. Salat, always a pleasure. All right, let's just get to it, guys. Let's just dive right in. I am getting some interesting conversations as some of the groups are starting to set dates for their redemption cruise to be in, well, mostly Western US. I don't want to get myself in trouble on giving anything on specifics. I'm certain it's going to start hitting boards soon, but that some of the groups appear to be bringing in their redemption cruise specifically for 4B for when people bring in more currency that weren't, in other words, they don't have everything in 4A already SKR'd. So what they're bringing extra, they're starting to set that up. So it gives me all kinds of warm ones. And yeah, kind of this weird to leave it right there, but I have to. So let's get into some of the fun stuff that we can point our fingers at. U.S. urges Iraq to reach agreements to allow resumption of Kurdish oil exports. The pressure's on. Of course, Iraq earlier today said they will be pumping next week. There are some back and forth articles in Iraq today, similar to what we saw on the dollar's rising, the dollar's falling, dinar's getting stronger, dinar's getting weaker. There are some of those same back and forth articles going on in Iraq over the oil pumping and the budget tables making it over the weekend to Parliament. Totally to be expected right now. Don't let it shake you. Alalak, we're working to create a data center that represents a basis for success for digital transformation. They are just modernizing their banking system so that they can move forward. Just keep in mind when you see articles like this, just keep remembering the IDNR. Some of you folks going, what the heck? I'm going to take that news banner off as we hit this. We are going to go fairly quickly so we can get to Dr. Scott. And I do have a couple of things I really want to touch on. We are watching more and more banks cut jobs. Guys, this is part of banking losing profitability and a combination. Oh, sorry about that, Dr. Scott. And a combination of a changing environment. More and more people, they don't go to the bank. The apps have gotten so good. You got your mega computer in your hands. It's just faster, easier, and more convenient. So this is a combination of those. It's when you see them removing people in loan departments, places like that, that you start scratching your head. Here we got Morgan Stanley cutting 2,000 banking jobs. Of course, they're claiming as the U.S. economy slows, here's the thing, Wall Street's slowing, but Main Street does not seem to be slowing. And that's a very, very important point to make. Here we go over at Inside Paper, Deutsche Bank to cut 2,000 jobs, the CEO is saying. So we're watching this left and right as banks are coming to grips with a new reality. I want to throw this one in here because this one is going to be important. Polar Girl, I appreciate you, Polar Girl 7. United States Institute of Peace. This one is going to be all over your radar in the coming days. It appears there was another slush fund, another USAID type setup. And when you read the who's who on their boards as they were getting government money, and then you find out some of the companies, some of the NGOs that they are associated with, pay attention to this one. You're going to see a lot about that in the coming days. United States Institute for Peace. Now it'll start making more sense. Rogue Soros-funded NGO, non-government organization, plots multi-city assault on Tesla as domestic terrorism escalates. Anti-DEI. Now, Robbie Starbuck did a great one on this one. Here's what he had to say on that front. Over the next few days, you're going to see an organized professional protest effort at Tesla stores put together by a group called Indivisible. George Soros Foundation has given Indivisible nearly $8 million for their activism. They're calling these Tesla takedown events, and they are doing it in the midst of domestic terror spree targeting Tesla and Tesla owners. Guys, many of those Tesla owners are liberals, their own people, and they're going after them. That's where it really goes up. This is no longer protest. This is terrorism. They want to terrorize these owners to get rid of their Teslas. They're terrorizing them to tank the stock price. I mean, this has RICO written all over it and many other things. So they're calling them Tesla takedowns, and they're doing it in the midst of domestic terror spree targeting Tesla and Tesla owners. They have these planned across the entire country. These images are just 6 examples. Now it gets bigger than this. How can this not be seen as encouraging more violence and terrorism? I personally think that any violence occurring near locations they've chosen should result in Soros, his foundation, Indivisible, and their founders being held criminally accountable as co-conspirators. I agree. The Indivisible founders are Ezra Levin and his wife, Leah Greenberg. They became resistance figures during the Trump's first team, and their work is celebrated by elected Democrats. So, yeah, it's clear to me that the Democrats and their typical thugs are organizing this insanity. There reportedly even a form protest leaders can fill out to receive reimbursement payments for their paid protests. In other words, paid protests. And it just keeps going. Of course, we have radical Democrat Congress folks calling for folks to join. Takedown it's getting takedown organizers vandalizing. This is it's really, really ripping. Here we go. We've got some of these in social media, the fires, the destruction. If you guys have been paying attention to your social media, you will see quite literally dozens, if not hundreds, of video clips because, well, Teslas record video of people vandalizing them. I guess they're starting to figure that out as these guilty individuals are caught on tape. And a reminder, over a certain amount of damage, depending on your state, results in a felony conviction. And they are being told that they are going after them. I think one of the lowest is like 5 years mandatory. Some states, 20 years mandatory, all because they are mad. They have, Donald Trump derangement syndrome. Let's see. An investigation has found 5 Act Blue funded groups responsible for Tesla protests, Troublemakers, Disruption Project, Rise and Resist, Indivisible Project, and Democratic Socialists of America. Wow, Democratic Socialists. You know, that was the name of Hitler's party in Germany. Ooh, wait a minute. I didn't mean to do that yet. Let's back that one up. Isn't this one getting interesting, guys? Let's back in here. I didn't mean to lose you guys there. Crazed Ezra Levin is the mastermind behind Indivisible. At least one far left group published the address of Tesla locations and owners on a map previously hosted on a now defunct website that they had to take down. The cursor turned to a Molotov cocktail when you rolled over it. Yep, trying to conceal their identity. Here's the thing. There are too many white hat hackers now tracking every single one of them down. Waltz celebrating, says he loaded the Tesla app just so he could track it crashing. Unhinged Democrats attacking an American company, whether by firebombing vehicles or publishing target lists online for anarcho-terrorists, creates disastrous optics. Many mainstream media companies now, from MMBC and the rest of them, are, well, they're feeling some enormous legal pressure. Let's see. Let's turn this one down. Rogue Soros funded NG. Okay, we already did that one. That's where we were at, right? Now let's bounce to the next one. Canada's largest Tesla showroom hit by attack. 80 vehicles damaged by rogue leftists. So this is spread. This is now international. We're seeing these crimes all over the world as they are making anybody that may or may not support, just buy a Tesla. You're worried about the environment, so you buy a Tesla, right? Now they're coming after you. Do you realize that majority of Tesla owners are, well, liberals? So, I mean, this is really, they're going after their own people to make a statement. They're attacking drivers. Have you seen the videos of them attacking them like on the road, unhinged leftists, swinging from suitcases to clothes to trying to slash their tires at red lights? Yeah, these people are calm. I want to listen to them. I really, really want to say, you're probably right about all the, no, it doesn't work that way. These people are absolutely unhinged. Common sense has left the building. I had another good one here. I'm going to try to find it while Dr. Scott, you start. I am looking for, let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, I'm just going to cave right now and put you up there in the front spot. I've got a great article on Soros, the worldwide pushback against George Soros right now, including what has happened in India as they have raided his offices. The pushback is huge. I don't think people realize. Oh, before I forget, you want to talk to him about numbers and how we're being.
Yes. And so if I'm going to plug something. It's hysterical that Mark and I got called out by a truther, saying that we were paid shills. And I was going, how come I haven't seen my paychecks?
Right.
And I'm like,
all right,
where are the freaking paychecks? And anyone who knows me knows that I don't put any advertisements, because, and I don't care. Every one of my friends do it. Mark does some advertisement. Everyone else does. I'm like going, I don't do it. Why? Because God told me not to, right? So, and most people respect that, right? But other people, like, I don't care what they do. I never have cared, right? And people can make money. And by the way, you should be able to make money on this. I'm going to plug Mark the very first time I've ever done anything like this, right? So, like, I got, if you bring this up on the screen, your coffee area.
All right, give me just a second. I'll get over to it.
So, like, I'm every morning I get up at 3 to 4 in the morning. I've told you this, guys. I get a cup like basically this size, but I'll have only half of it full of water. Okay, so I sit by the fire, and my first thing is to calm down. Like, I'm wondering if everything happened, if Mark's texted me or whatever, but I actually put my stuff aside, right? I turn on the coffee pot. And in the past, we have a Keurig, right? So we have all kinds of different Keurig, things. And Mark sends the coffee, and I don't remember what the deal was, but I think we were going through like hirings of every crazy person we could do at the office. One person went psycho in 3 days. Another person went, like a wallflower in like 3 weeks, quit, so we just had all kinds of crazy things, right? On top of that, we got sick and a whole bunch of other things. And he really, really graciously sent us coffee, but he sent us coffee beans. And so I'm like, Wendy, we got to go get some, like a grinder. So I go get a grinder, and, we could only do a little bit. And I'm liking the coffee, but I hadn't really tried it enough. So Wendy goes, like, gets a grinder, and then we finally get a little can, because you got to keep them in a can or the thing's going to really taste bad after a while, right? And I'm like, dude, this is good. And here's the funniest thing. I'll throw out the little thing, the Keurig kind of thing. You put a little insert in there, right? And the sink smells amazing, and so does the trash. So, like at the end of the day, I mean, in the day, our trash smells awesome, and we had a good cup of coffee. So, guys, consider utilizing that as well. So that's my little plug for Mark on that. The paid shill of it all.
Yeah, I wasn't even expecting a paid shill. Well, wait, an unpaid shill. They're better.
Totally.
One, before I forget, Rain Man, I was talking about people that have not bond people. I'm talking about SKR people. So they're setting up people that are SKR currency. We'll call them 4A, 4B being the people that still have the currency in their possession. That seems to be what they're preparing for. Sorry about that distraction, but
no, I think that's a great point, because 4A was the original thing made for, military guys that came back, and other people who had purchased, pre-purchased a long time ago. They had currency for an incredibly long time, and some of them went through, you might call it paymaster, and so then they would have brought their currency in, and it was counted toward them, and so that was called tier 4 in essence overall. But as they were kind of looking around, they were going,
you think you're 1, 2, 5%. Hey, we won by a great one. We won by 3%. Those kind of guys, conservatives are overwhelmingly, they have been gaslighting us to think that it's even close.
Mhm.
It is not close. When you go out there on the street, they're just loud, squeaky wheels. You are overwhelmingly the majority. The majority want sanity and common sense. That being said, it shows you how desperate they are. They are trying to whip up uprisings. They're trying to whip up Teslas, fire bombings. This is the last ditch ever. I don't know about last, but this is a last ditch effort by the globalists to cause as much chaos as they can. Just be prepared for it. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't partake.
Yeah, but I
Just
also know this. I also know this about Mark. With the channel's got 103,000 on YouTube, he probably should be in the range of 150,000 views. Just from my little math equations, which tells you that's a major one. His engagement rate is high, and so they're scared of him, but they're also not allowed to take him fully off. So there's something going on with that too.
Yeah,
So anyway,
exactly. They're not taking me off on purpose
nope.
because it looks like, oh, look, man, you got 100,000 people, you got 30,000. Probably should be more like 1,000,000 or 1,000,000.1 or 2 if they weren't throttling it. But think about the ones that are even bigger than me that they're doing this. I'm getting a small percentage of what I'm supposed to be getting. Think about all the other big ones out there.
Yep.
Because they're doing similar things to them. In other words, I'm trying to tell you that 80% of all content out there is driven by conservatives because we're probably 80% of the population.
Yeah,
If they would be truthful.
Tucker says that, what do you have, like 5 or 6 million on his channel? I'll bet you it's more like 25 to 35 million. And his views are way higher with that too. So anyway, important question for Scott. I got divorced in 2012 and she passed away in 2023. How will taxes be reimbursed? Will I receive all the taxes? No, I'm gonna say both sides of this. Mark believes that, from what his information is that you'll get all of your taxes back. And by the way, if you were married in X year to Y year, they would know that. And so it would come back to you. And Mark believes that you'll get all of your taxes back. I have the belief of the last several years or few years with that too. So
either way, it's a considerable amount. But keep in mind, you were married, so that's split. So you're only getting back, you're not getting back all of her money too.
Yeah, but they know
that's my understanding.
They easily can find you because every time they pull your name up, they pull her name up, right? And it's just how it works when they do that. They see it connected together.
Winrider, what tier group farm claims is same tier that bondholders are in? Exact same tier. So there's your answer right there.
Some level of 3. Right?
Yeah. I call them 3Z because they're right before 4A.
And probably on the bottom, just like I think, CMKX is probably really on the bottom too. So
Yeah. Vivale, no, we don't do pods because of the plastic. We're trying to avoid as much as we can. I know many people out there that claim that they care about the environment. We actually do. Yeah, it's one of those things, guys. Just a reminder. Do you know 80% of Republicans recycle? Yeah, it's only 20-some% of Democrats that recycle. So, I mean, when it comes to environment, they love to scream,
oh my gosh.
you got to be part of the Paris climate. You got to be part of this. Got to be. In reality, they really don't care. They just like virtue signaling. See, Flipper, you get it. I just wanted to put a Z on it. All right. I love that one. We definitely know God wins. You can buy a reusable pod if you want pods, but I'm trying to stay off the coffee thing and get to it. What else you want to cover? You got some really good stuff in here tonight.
So I have a couple videos I'd like to show you guys. Because
you want the one with Musk or the Treasury response?
The Fed magic one.
All right, let's add that one.
What I am not going to say that went on for a long time under the Biden administration.
The other one? Okay, let's remove that one. Let's
magic money computers at the Treasury.
And so Doge gets on there. Now, how long has Ted Cruz been in Senate? I don't know. I mean, a dozen years, whatever the number is. How come he doesn't know that those payments that he's been approving haven't been going to crazy programs? And the answer is he knows it. And so listen, I'm not trying to go, well, I thought he was a good guy and I thought this is a bad guy. Listen, all of them are not in my favorite camp here. Okay, that's one thing I'm going to share with you. But here's the thing that you're seeing is that the Fed is getting highlighted right now. When the highlighting of the Fed comes, and I've been trying to give you these pieces of evidence or substance, when that is on the doorstep, and we're also hearing the continuing conversation of where is the gold at Fort Knox, that should give you an indication we are freaking close. I mean, we are on that amazing doorstep. But here's the interesting part. JFK files just dropped in about a quarter of them, and the next thing is to drop the rest of them along with this. So we're seeing it move along, and I think those are the pieces of evidences. Let me use something as a point of faith. So I want you to think about this. If you are in a court case, right, and the defense guy brings up 5 pieces of evidence, and the prosecution brings up 5 pieces of evidence. Now, they don't all weigh the same, right? One piece of evidence kind of sucks, and then that one doesn't do really well, and they kill off each other's evidences a little bit. But what happens, let's say you have all of your evidences toward the Nasara, toward the RV, all these things that you've been listening to. And something comes in the side realm and seems to pierce your bubble, and you're going, there it is, we're all done. I get these histrionic responses, and I'm like, would you guys calm down? And I'm not trying to beat you up, but I'm saying this. We got to be calm on this kind of stuff, because here's what I want to share with you. In the Old Testament, they used to say the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. What they were saying is all the things that you did for them, I'm planning on that happening to me. So when you get assaulted by anti-evidence, that's what I'm going to put it as, that doesn't think like that the RV, the Nasara thing, the debt forgiveness, whatever that might be, is going to happen, I want you to pause for a second and say, I'm going to push back on it because I've got this other evidence that says oppositely. Okay? And that's called response instead of reacting. So that little piece that Elon, who shouldn't know all this stuff, but he seems to know it, and Ted Cruz, should know everything, but doesn't, tells you a bunch.
Yeah, your answer, 2012 is when Ted Cruz joined the Senate. So 12 years, 13 years later, he's just learning this. I mean, no matter how many times Rand Paul or Ron Paul have gotten in front of them with the actual numbers in the budget and showed them, it doesn't sink in. At some point, you got to admit either your politicians are in on it or they're idiots.
Right.
I can't find an in between.
Do you want to do the other one and then we'll take some more questions?
They used to say it was a vibe session and the American people don't know what they talk about. And Donald Trump, his administration, what I am not going to say that went on for a long time under the Biden administration, they used to say it was a vibe session and the American people don't know what they talk about. And Donald Trump, his administration, myself, all believe that the American people know what they're feeling and that we believe that our policies will change that. They want relief. We've been in for 8 weeks. We are putting the policies in place that will make the affordability crisis go down, inflation moderate, and
so what is he saying there? In their mindset, they've been going for 8 weeks. We've been thinking about this. They've been going for 4 years and 8 weeks, right? And it still hasn't happened yet. And the reality is, I'm hearing on the outside is that they're saying we've been putting out this thing, and they're looking at 2 things: affordability and inflation. What does affordability and inflation mean? How do you affect that when the interest rates are gigantic right now? The answer is you can't fix those 2. The only way you fix those 2 is by gold backed currency. So those are just little sidelong pieces of evidence that they're listening to you and they're telling you that stuff, because it's never happened the way that they're talking like this stuff.
Ice cream is melted. It's good to see you in there. Should check Candace Owens from today. She called out several names, including Rothschilds, Bushes, Hitler, while discussing some of the Kennedy stuff. What we learned in the Kennedy files, I very much believe when Q said Israel for last, that's what we're watching right now. That is some damning information that is dropped. And that information, guys, is, how old? 60 years old?
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking at
it changed. All right. What are you hearing? Anything timing wise? Some people are just looking for a little bit of hopium. I am just getting absolutely blown away by the positive stuff out there. I don't know if you want to share anything or not that we haven't talked about this evening.
All I know is right now we're at the doorstep. We're just not sure why the doorbell. We rang the doorbell. We just don't know why it hasn't opened up yet. That's kind of the thing that I'm hearing with that too. So
this one's for you, Dr. Scott.
So you have 800,000 come to me next week. I should be able to put $250,000 in the banks and decide what to do with it. Can I trust the U.S. Treasury and the bond money market accounts? First off, money market account. Listen, I'm not a financial planner. I don't play one on TV, but a money market is a cash account. If you're talking about in a money market account for IRA, if you're talking about money market, it's a short-term kind of thing, like a CD. You can trust that. It's a bank. You can trust those. Those are not going to be going away. Drop it in the stock market. That's something I would be a little bit more hesitant about with that too. So if you wanted to look at that, put it into a CD or a money market account in a bank. Listen, the most evil thing in the history of the world would be to delete people's funds in banks. If you did that, you might as well just flush the whole country down the toilet. That's never going to happen. And I know a lot of people are telling you oppositely. That is not the case.
Had a lot of fear out there. Hey, we're not going to get to exchange, guys. So many groups out there believe they're the only group exchanging. They've had a real wake-up call as more groups have started showing up, and they find out they're not the only group, and they're finding out that other groups are. The idea that there is no 4B is there is no, guys, they're not going to tell every citizen in Iraq that a bunch of wealthy Americans got to exchange and they didn't. I just stop and apply your logic and think about, I mean, just stop, drop, think.
Well, I would say this. I mean, there are some people that you might be listening to, and this person says this, and that person says this point, right? I would say a lot of people have a Clydesdale thinking on this. So if they're a bondholder, they have never even thought about what it's like to have Tier 4B. But you have to ask the question, why would a bondholder get money? In a real world, without an RV, which means a revalue of the currency point into a gold-backed currency, there's no way a bondholder would just get money and there would be nothing else. Doesn't happen. So guys, you got to. That's where Mark has a more balancing act here and understanding the backgrounds with that too. Do I think that everyone will get Doge checks? I do believe that. At this time, I've seen as much as $7,000. I mean, that's the. Let me see if I can bring this up here because it is a really interesting number. Let's see here. Savings right now, the savings per taxpayer is $714. Now, that's just saying what their saving number is. So they could be dropping that back, to you. It could be $5,000. It could be $7,000. I don't know. So,
that we do. Trump supposedly put a 90-day hold on IRS, and what does that mean? We have some IRS folks that work, and they're watching the dismantling live time, which is very interesting because we really get to track things that way. But it's my understanding just no new enforcement for 90 days, like kind of a hold on new enforcement. So
meaning
I would
they're
not
not
play Russian roulette, folks.
Yeah, it means they're not doing new audits. In essence, that's essentially what it means. But the bigger point that it means is no new employees. They're pulling back on any changes that Congress might do. Because, by the way, Congress, when they put a budget out, it changes all the IRS. So it changes all the codes that they would come through. So that is actually a really amazing thing with that.
Yeah, it's always tough. A lot of the folks, guys, when you see or you feel like your question's being ignored, if you didn't come in at the beginning, it's probably already been answered and we're just ignoring it because we know you're probably just further behind in the video and you're going to get it answered if you'll just keep listening. Unfortunately, we're not duck, duck, go. Yeah, a lot of Do I think it's going to be over $1? I think it's going to be over $1. Do I know with absolute certainty? No. Do I have extreme confidence? Yes.
Way more.
I'm just watching a few of these. Trump does keep saying April 2nd, Freedom Day. April 2nd, Freedom Day. What would you guys think about the concept of, hey, they try to quietly get us in through the doors between now and then they announce April 2nd, the golden day or whatever? To me, it seems logical.
Yeah. I mean, but could that be something else he's thinking of too? Hard to say.
Yeah, it could be. So stay calm.
But he's saying it. But here's the difference. He's saying it, and it's not like, a staff member or we think we heard him say that. He is saying it out in front of everyone. When people were thinking we were going to go at March 4th when he was speaking, he just said he was doing important announcements. He did important announcements, important issues, but he never said he never said go back or anything like that. Now he's saying some really interesting statement with April 2nd, with Liberty Day. That easily could be like separation from the cabal. I don't know which one. So
yeah. Maybe you'll just announce liberty from the IRS. I'd be good with that.
Right.
Either way, it should be. Hopefully, it'll be something big. Breaking: at least 1,000 FBI agents are working on national security issues connected to the Epstein files before they are released to the public. LilyPad, let us know where you saw that one. We certainly are seeing some very, very interesting activity. I mean, the disclosure that is hitting is just huge. People running, people looking for non-extradition countries. It's getting interesting, guys.
I'm looking at your comments too.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with the comments on both sides of it.
It's each side for us. My side screen has to show me some other stuff with that too.
Yeah, we don't know. Guys, I don't know if we're going to get any Doge dollars or not. I know it was floated out there. That doesn't mean that it's happening. Don't count on it to pay your bills, I guess is what I'm getting at. Although maybe that's what he's going to announce April 2nd.
Yeah, he might. Barbie said, with no currency, will our tax money go into the banks, or do we have to go someplace where to get it? Really think about where you've ever had, something deposited from the government. Okay. If you have Social Security or if you have tax returns, with tax returns in the past, I've let it go into a savings account. That's where I'm going to be looking for it.
So. Yes, there's definitely a lot going on there. TD, see how we're talking about the number of folks that have already been removed from the IRS workforce. TDS budget tables, they were hopeful they would be earlier this week, but I was told to look for them most likely on Sunday this weekend. We talked about that earlier this morning. Yeah, and that Elon's idea was the Doge dividend. I like the idea, though. I think it'll get a lot of people behind it. Oh, I love that Batman. Trump may mean he's going to show up on our Liberty and Main Street channel. Liberty Day. Wouldn't that be epic? That would be too funny. If we get our RV dollars, do you seriously care if you get the Doge dollars? Yeah, I don't. But there are many people that follow us, guys, that don't have currency. So I pray for them that there is something there.
I'll tell you what Trina Welch actually said. It's just a very interesting statement. She goes, what if those Doge dollars comes about the same time that, you're in the RV? And people go, wow, that is amazing. We got money in the bank. Yep. And it's a little cover point, just a monetary cover point, because everyone's getting it and they're spending some of that money. And you're like, so am I.
I see a lot of questions, guys. We don't know. There's not enough information out there other than a comment or two from Elon and from Trump. We don't know. We don't know what it means, how much it might be. He floated, hey, maybe we give them all $5,000. We do not know the details. We don't know, hey, I make over 100,000. Will I get it? Hey, I don't pay any taxes because I don't make enough. I don't know what to tell you guys. There's just not enough information to share with any kind of certainty on it. They're just, you'd be totally like playing horseshoes and hand grenades. You're just trying to get close.
Go Titans 78 says, will the our QFS system be digital gold? Yes and no. I mean, that's an interesting way of thinking about it. Remember, every bank system that you have or every kind of account has to be the Scott word QFS compliant. Okay. So it's changing over into that QFS way. Now, secondly, the backing is gold backed from Treasury. So, if you're talking about $5,000, well, that's $5,000 of gold backed, monies in essence. So, but it isn't like a digital gold, which means you could go over there. There's a lot of conversations about, do they have to have, X number of dollars? You have $1 billion bank. Do they have to have $1 billion of gold or, or the value within that? I don't know. There are some ways of being gold backed, but fractionalizing through the bank. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, sounds a little fiat, but I've been hearing some of that conversation go through. I don't know how that would work, but that's just what is being floated.
Still expecting, I like some of these questions this evening. Are we still expecting a scare event? I mean,
heck yeah.
We got crazy terrorists all over, domestic terrorists, Canadian, international terrorists, blowing up cars, attacking drivers. Yeah, they're desperately trying for a scare event. That might be enough to do it right there.
Absolutely, 100%. You have to have the EBS scare event.
And before I forget, I mean, there is more news on that front out there. Houthi forces this evening attack escort vessels accompanying the USS Truman in the Red Sea. So, yeah, we do know that France is removing, telling their citizens to get out of Iran now. Keeping in mind that France, because they've gone very Islamic with open borders, have a lot of them that go back and forth from Europe, from France to Iran. They're telling to get, if you are a French citizen, get out now. So yeah, something big is about to happen. Preparations are well underway. Buckle up. The whole world's about to change.
Carolyn Bryce says, does anyone know how much taxes will be over the 150K mark? The answer is that is a signal. Don't think of it as the amount. What he said, Howard Lutnick actually said, is that he didn't want that Trump doesn't want to have any IRS. And then he was like, he doesn't want anyone to, and then he said, then he doesn't want anyone to pay over, under $150,000. Again, just like they said, no tax on tips, it's a signal that the IRS is going to be no more. So don't think of it any way, shape, or form on that. It's over.
Yeah, One Love Energy said, I got a letter from the state controller that I had money owed to me. Turns out it was unemployment, not paid out years ago, was legit, and I got a check yesterday. There are so many of those where money is owed to folks. There's a site. I'll try to find out what it is where you can go and you can see. It could be like a life insurance policy that never paid out, a dividend. It's like it's crazy. I went through that some years ago, and at the time I really needed it. And my brother had me look it up, and sure enough, I had a couple of grand come back at a time I needed it. So I'll see if I can find that information. If folks in chat, if you know what I'm speaking of, it goes in, finds out, did the state treasury forget to pay you? Did car insurance where you paid too much? Did they not pay you back? Did they not find you? That kind of thing. Miv Hale, you can't post links in Twitch. Yeah, guys, don't post links. Email them to me so I can share them, or send them to a mod if you have it.
I think it was Lyle FY says, Conductor Scott, talk about living trust. The reality is, I think that we have vehicles today that exist in the fiat, and they're all around taxation. I think all of the trusts are going to adjust dramatically when we go, past IRS, because it's almost hard to understand what they're doing now versus then. So it's going to change.
Definitely going to change. Jay Binkley, they will definitely revalue gold. That's not even a secret anymore. Lily Pat said, breaking, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer calls for the UK and French-led troops to be stationed in Ukrainian cities. They are desperate to start World War III.
Sure.
And at this point, I think the U.S. would step back and let them have it for a little while. Let them soften each other up and then step in. I mean, I hate that idea because so many people would die, but at some point there has to be pushback for the very poor decisions that leaders are making. I know that sounds heartless, doesn't it? Sounds heartless. All right, folks, we should probably State Department of Unclaimed Funds. That may be something for you folks to look at or search for. But I will work on that for tomorrow. I think it would be something worth sharing. It might help a few people that are just trying to survive until they get it on the other side. Jamie, no, there's no crazy machine that you have to go through before you are allowed to RV. I can tell you that's every single one of my redemption folks or wealth management folks have told me that.
I mean, there's going to be paperwork. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you're going to fill out paperwork. That's going to be there. And be expecting that, but don't expect any other crazy kind of things.
Okay, I like that one. More and more people are saying each state has an unclaimed money or Treasury Department. Check with your Secretary of State. So go to your Secretary of State Department in whatever state you live in and see if you can find it on their website. MVR, yeah, protect your money. Buy more gold and silver. I'm with you if you can. All right. Find Dr. Scott at drscottyoung.com. Find me here. I'll be back tomorrow. We should be back on YouTube tomorrow morning as well. I've enjoyed getting so many people over on the Rumble side. Kick is starting to go. So I'm enjoying the switch up. It has me thinking that I should do RV news on YouTube and then bounce over to Rumble for the balance of it, kind of like Crowder used to do for his as well. It has me thinking that would be the way to go because I don't have to worry about, I can actually say and not be throttled by doing it that way. So I am considering with YouTube as things take back off, putting it where I just give just the news, at 10 minutes of RV stuff on it, and then take it all to Rumble and Kick, so that I'm tired of being throttled.
Yeah, I've seen several people do it, but I also know this too, guys. Post RV, post Nasara kind of thing, there is going to be a flush of YouTube, of Rumble, of all of the social media channels. When bots are removed and all the censorship that I know they want to get rid of, it's going to loosen up for us in a lot of ways. Oop, you're muted again.
I was telling Sugar Sten, thank you, over on the Rumble side. All right, guys, let's call it a wrap. Yeah, what do you call yourself on YouTube? Jojo Starbuck wants to know.
Oh, me? Just you can look for, easiest way to find me is drscottyoung.com, and then you click on the YouTube
link right there.
That's the easiest way that you don't get it wrong, because we've actually fixed that several times with that too.
Booger to the rescue says try missingmoney.com.
Oh, and Kukla wants me to close with a prayer, so let's do that.
Oh, fantastic.